Hey everyone, some guy ranks stuff here, and today I'm going to rank, well, a very personal thing because I call this movies, like new movies I've seen in the last year, which basically means that these are all movies that I haven't seen before. I decided just about a year ago that I would try to see a movie that I hadn't seen before each and every week, or at least one movie. And so I did that for a whole year now, and I wanted to kind of celebrate it by ranking the movies that I've seen. Uh, so this can be just about any movie, like any genre, anything. The films varied a lot from classics that I've missed out on to movies that I just felt like watching that night when I decided to see a movie. So it's like all kinds of movies, both international ones, Norwegian ones, even other well, films from other countries. So this is just for you as a viewer. There's nothing here that like would make any sense. Like this isn't a ranking of the best horror movies or best comedies, best action movies or anything. These movies are just like it can be just about anything. So I'll try as best as I can to rank these based on the quality of the movies and how much I enjoy them. Now, I'm not a huge expert. I mean, I know basic stuff about movies, but I will just try to rank these based on how much I enjoy them and maybe from some certain technical standpoints if there's something I really want to be precise about. I can't speak about every movie like in detail here, but because we'll be sitting here for hours if I did. Because I have here about 65 different films that I'm about to rank. Some weeks I watched like more than one new movie, so that's why it's not just 52. Like since I had done this for 1 year, I will speak as much as I can about movies, but I won't try to hold up and just spend a whole lot of time because that would make this very, very boring, I'm sure. So I think I'll just, well, of course, there's one more thing that I won't really rank these movies based on like every movie I've ever seen in my entire life. If I put a movie here in the D rank, it might not be the worst movie I've ever seen. And if I put it in the S rank, it might not be the best movie I've ever seen either. But in this past year, the best ones will be in S, the worst ones will be in D. But it doesn't mean it's like crap or anything. I will talk about every movie, so and my experience with them. So yeah, we'll get to that. And I'll just say on beforehand, remember that this is just my opinion. I'm neither right or wrong. I'm just some guy ranking stuff. So we'll start with, well, these are all alphabetically, so you can already see which movie is first there. This is, of course, a classic, Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. Um, this is one of those movies that I've kind of saved, or not really saved, but one of those that I've heard so much about, seen tons of references to in other different um, pop culture media. But I finally got to see it, and I understand why people um, hold it to such high regards. It is one of the best films that I've seen this past year, no doubt. Interesting movie. Um, Kind of interesting look at society and how like rebellious actions can't always be handled in a certain scientific way. At least they haven't found it yet in this movie, either way. So, but it's a great movie, great references that I've seen in other films as well. Great acting, great music. Was a really enjoyable movie that got me to think a bit about certain things. A Cure for Wellness is a film that I hadn't heard about until I saw it, and I think it's a decent like drama thriller. It has it had this certain feel to it that I've gotten from other types of thrillers or like thrilling experiences, such as video games, I was kind of getting a vibe from, not that I've read any of his books, but H.P. Lovecraft. You know, I've played a couple of like Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth, and the newer Call of Cthulhu game that's um, on, at least on Nintendo Switch, but also on other consoles and even PC, I think. And I just kind of got like a certain feeling, like a vibe of something similar to those kinds of games. Like there's this huge hidden secret that's, you know, not known to the public. I won't try. I will. I mean, I will try to not spoil any movies here, but I thought it was interesting. It's been a while since I saw it, so I can't remember everything about it. But I think it's at least a B-ranked movie. American Psycho. I think this one also goes into the S tier. It's a thrilling movie about a psycho. That's for sure. And I thought it was interesting how it was told, and I don't want to, again, I don't want to spoil anything, so won't get into deep details about this, but there was a clever way of storytelling, I feel, that kind of changed throughout the movie. Like, or, yeah, I'll just shut up there, but I thought it was very entertaining, really creepy in some ways. Definitely a great movie. So I went to see Oppenheimer once, but they were sold out at the movies, so I saw Barbie instead. I think I'll give it an A ranking. It was entertaining, and I had like read about it and different reviews of it before I saw it, so I kind of knew what I was I kind of knew what I was supposed to expect, and I thought it delivered in many ways. But it's also very, excuse me, very clear that I wasn't the target audience for this movie. I mean, I've grown up along with Barbies, even though I never got it myself. I did play with the Barbie dolls at some point, but um, like there's this really valuable message in this movie for sure. It didn't hit me, but it's kind of funny that I have a cousin of a cousin who's a girl in her teens who saw the movie at the same time as I did, and she came up to me after the movie was over and said, like, you have no idea how much this actually meant to me. She was basically tearing up when I can't remember the name of either the character or the actress, but I'm not talking, of course, about the monologue from the woman from the real world, the mother there. It hit her right in, yeah, in her soul, I guess. So I thought it was a good movie, and I thought that Ryan Gosling's Ken was really funny as well. This kind of douchey, macho idiot who, well, went all in for patriarchy after discovering how it worked in the real world. Either way, it's good. It's definitely an A, I think. Big Trouble in Little China, isn't that? I think that's the title. Kind of a spoof in some ways on 80s action movies, even though it's actually Kurt Russell who's been sort of part of those kinds of movies. It was funny, it was enjoyable, but nothing too special, I think. It goes here. Bullet Train, I absolutely adored. This was the kind of film that maybe in the last 10 years, I've realized that I love a whole lot. There's quite a big deal of action, which is cool. There's plenty of humor. I love that, and the story. I mean, this, just like how Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels is one of my favorite movies of all time. Just having these different parties, people having different assignments or missions or something like that, and they just end up crossing each other all the time into this huge mix. I think it's really entertaining, and Bullet Train was very entertaining to me. I thought it kind of dragged on at the very end, but it was really enjoyable, and I loved the character who was speaking about all the personalities in Thomas the Tank Engine. Oh, I thought it was so hilarious. You are Diesel. It was, it was amazing. Great movie. One of my favorites from this past year, for sure. More Kurt Russell here. Christmas Chronicles 2. I haven't seen the first one, but my class, I'm a teacher by the way, um, the class I'm teaching was seeing this for Christmas last year, and it felt long. It's well made in some ways, but I just didn't feel it was like a super good movie. It, of course, the experience was ruined that it was actually dubbed in Norwegian, and I really hate that. Um, Dubbing works for animations, I think. Sometimes, not always, but it works a lot better in animations. But dubbing like real people's acting is terrible. I can't stand it. So I think that ruined a lot of it for me. It could have maybe have been a B if I saw it in English, I think. Then we have Clerks 3. I've seen both Clerks 1 and 2. Great films. Clerks 3 wasn't really that bad either. I think maybe I like both the first better, but it was still a really good one. Really funny. It's amazing how they can have three movies follow each other with such a huge, such a long time being between each one, and still make it this good and making this consistent. So it was really well, I think. Come Play was a horror movie with Britta from Community. So this was about a kid who could see a monster through his iPad or something. I thought it was really clever, and it actually had some very interesting and exciting parts. Wasn't great, but for a very new horror movie, I thought it was really decent actually. So I think I'll put it in B here. So Deliverance is also a movie that I heard about for so long and seen references to for so long. Kind of disturbing. Also well made movie. I think I'll put it in A. I don't find it as good as the top here, but still a really good one. Don't Breathe 1 was really good. Don't Breathe 2 wasn't that great, I think. Maybe, yeah, I don't think it was much special. I'll put it in C. Compared to the rest that I've seen so far, I think it's here it belongs. I might figure out these ranks or different tiers as I go, because there might be some movies that I think is maybe worse than I first thought initially when I have more to compare with. So we'll see. Dunkirk was not the only Christopher Nolan film I saw during this year. I do find it amazing how one certain event can make a great movie. Like, it's a war movie, but all that it's about is just getting the 300,000 soldiers, I think it was 300,000, out of Dunkirk to save them, allow them to go home, not let them get killed. So that was the whole mission, and that's all the movie is about. I think it was more than 2 hours long, but still really engaging. And it's so. One scene that I just enjoyed was seeing the one or two young guys who desperately in the beginning tried to get to the ship and get back home, and there was this huge crowd in line for the ships, and of course not everyone got to get on board. But then they found a stretcher and carried the person, kind of cheating their way in front of the line, just cutting through. But seeing, like, they had this struggle getting across a gap, and there was a chance they would drop the injured person they carried with them. But as soon as they made it over, just seeing like all the other soldiers cheering them instead of getting angry and stressed out or just freak out because maybe they won't be able to escape. Just seeing them cheer on these two other guys carrying an injured soldier, I just feel like that says a lot about the Brotherhood. I'm no army man, of course, at all. I've never been to the army or anything, but that actually gave me goosebumps just seeing that. So April Ludgate, or Aubrey Plaza, I should rather say, played Emily the Criminal. That was actually a good thriller, so to speak. Interesting way. How she really needed money and ended up doing something criminal. Her boss she fell in love with, and I really enjoyed her boss being this. You know, he was criminal. He did bad things, but he still had some really good sides. So that was weird to say, but good side. So he did have different layers for his character, which found interesting. So it was kind of enjoyable. So Escape Room, I think this is the sequel. I didn't like that as much. Can't remember anything, but I think Escape Room, the first one was better, maybe even here. But I think I'll place it in C tier right now. Escape rooms are fun. The movie concept is good as well, but I just can't remember anything about this one, almost at least. The first one was kind of entertaining, so I'll put it here. So Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a very weird movie. Benicio del Toro and Johnny Depp playing the main roles here. It was entertaining, kind of weird in many ways, but it was enjoyable, and I was just sitting there the whole time and thinking, geez, this is a weird movie. But that kind of comes with Terry Gilliam as well. Like 12 Monkeys is a great movie he directed. I think directed at least. This is kind of, well, not exactly the same, but it was one of those that I maybe heard about for a little while that I just finally had to see, so I'm glad I did, and I think it ranks up in A tier here. So First Blood, the first Rambo movie. This is of course a classic in many people's eyes, and for good reason, I think. I did feel like this, like the plot is good, but all the action that happened felt so unnecessary, from the perspective of the characters. It seemed like the whole situation could have been avoided in some way. But what do I know? I haven't been to war. I've never been to the army, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago. And it finally made some sense when John broke down at the end and had his monologue, or he told this other military, the higher ranked one, told him all about how it's difficult to adapt to a normal life after being to war. I'm pretty sure that makes sense. And to me, the movie made more sense when he had that speech. But up until that point, it felt like a lot of it could have been avoided. But still, entertaining movie. I can understand how it was the birth of a new franchise. And well, yeah, there was a lot of great action too, a lot of smart things actually. So the term Rambo, just going all Rambo, it's not. I kind of knew that already though, but that expression doesn't really come from this movie, from what I understand. So Gangs of New York, really interesting film, I think, and it goes up in here. I haven't seen many Martin Scorsese films. I mean, I've seen The Godfather. I'm pretty sure that's Scorsese. I know at least Goodfellas is one of those, but I haven't seen it. That's one I have to see as well. I'll probably do it for this next year. But I think this was an interesting setting. I mean, I guess it's not based on a true story, like the characters. I'm not sure if they're all real, but I believe it's based on a true setting. And it's really interesting to see how the Irish were like uh, in fights with, the butcher called himself a Native American, which is not the same native as the ones who were actually native to America, which really gives an interesting insight to how, like, the birth of America made people feel, um, from being immigrants to actually calling the place their home. I thought it was really interesting, and the story was good. The action, the drama, I thought it was all great, and the acting as well from most of these actors and actresses. So we have Glass Onion, the Knives Out sequel. Um, I do love like these murder mysteries. And this one was entertaining, but I don't think it was a top tier movie. It's kind of like the first one as well, which was really good. But I kind of expected to, you know, have the mystery be a mystery until the very end, like of who actually stood behind the murder. But either way, it was entertaining. Ground of, I'm sorry, I'm gonna speak a lot here. I should get some water soon, because my mouth is gonna dry up at some point. So Groundhog Day is of course a film that's been referenced to quite a bit, and I have seen a couple of Groundhog Day inspired movies before this one, like Palm Springs with Andy Samberg, but also Happy Death Day, which was one I really enjoyed. I thought that was a really entertaining movie. I can see why many people love this. In many ways, like a lot of the scenes are great. It's both funny, it's tragic, but I thought it was longer than it needed to be. So it's to me, it's definitely not a top tier movie, but maybe is it really down here? I feel like I'm gonna piss off a lot of people by doing that. Yeah, I think so, actually. Then we have the original Halloween. Um, there are multiple old horror movies like these classics that I need to see, and I've seen a couple of them, but I haven't been really that impressed. I mean, from a scary standpoint, at least, I get why they're classics and they deserve to be, but seeing it this late for me it doesn't really do much. Like Nightmare on Elm Street was kind of disappointing. Child's Play wasn't maybe not that classic of a movie, but it still wasn't that entertaining either to me. But Halloween might be the better one among those. I haven't seen Friday the 13th yet, but Halloween was good. And I struggle to choose between B and A tier here. I think Baby goes here, and I think I'm gonna disappoint a lot of people, like I said. So an Andy Samberg movie, Hot Rod, and it's not better than this one here. I think it's funny, of course, but yeah, I think if I put this one here, then Halloween should be up here. So this is what I talked about, having to maybe adapt a little more, try to figure out what kind of ranks I actually get to use here. I'll just get some water quick. There we go. So Hush, this is Gwyneth Paltrow, and actually don't know how to say her name, but Jessica Lange. I'm not sure how to say it. I've seen her a lot in American Horror Story, but there's another Hush movie, which is a totally different one that I enjoy more than this. But it was decent, about this kind of psychotic mother who like did try to do a lot to ruin her son's wife's life. Um, it was kind of a good drama, I think. It goes in B tier, I think. Nothing too bad, but yeah, it goes there. So John Wick. This is chapter 4, by the way, and I'm not sure if it's really hard to see, but chapter 4. So I've seen John Wick 1, but I haven't seen 2 or 3. But I was invited by a friend of mine to see 4 in the theaters, and I'm not a huge fan of John Wick, but they're well made. The action, the choreography, and such is really well made. And I gotta say, I was pretty weak to. This is a simple thing, but the sunrise in Paris, I think it was in Paris before the last duel, I thought those scenes were so gorgeous, so well made. But it at least goes up here. And just out of my enjoyment, it's not in the top, but it's a great movie. So Krampus or Krampus, maybe if that's more correct. I think it's German. This like anti Santa with geez, what's his name? Ben White from Parks and Recreation. Geez, I can't remember his name. Never mind. But I saw this for Christmas, I think, just to see like kind of a horror movie. It wasn't too bad, but it's not better than B tier compared to the rest here, I think. Well, it was decent as a family. Yeah, I think family movie kind of. It's about a family anyway, being under attack by this. Well, I think it was the grandmother who was German, I think, so she carried this tradition and yeah, well, something like that. It's been a while. I was about to say Pan's Labyrinth, but that's not correct. This is Labyrinth from the 80s with David Bowie in one of the star roles here. I think it was a decent film. Just me being like at this age or in this time period we are in now, where these fantasy universes all like usually get explored and expanded more and more. It's kind of weird to see like a movie set in like a movie from the 80s, which is it was kind of more common then, I guess, to have this universe for an hour and a half, and you don't, get to like explore or see the expansion of it in any other way. I haven't done my research for this movie, by the way. So if there's like comics or like a comic book or even a book that's that has more kind of story and information about this universe, I'm not so sure, but it's a fantasy world that I haven't seen before. It's just I would kind of like to see more of it. Yeah, this was really hard to talk about, but it was decent for a movie that lasted for about an hour and a half. Wow, I'm not, I don't have much more to say about it. I think it was a decent film, decent fantasy film with well, it was fun to see David Bowie though do a film role. I don't think I've seen it other than in Zoolander when I think about it. So here's a Norwegian film. Lange flate baller. 3 or 3 long flat balls to translate it directly. So this is based on like a gang of football fans in Østfold in the eastern part of Norway. We saw this at school because the kids wanted to see it before the end of the school year. Now, this previous school year. I have seen the first one. I haven't seen the second. The second seemed like crap. The first one was decent, and I was actually really surprised about this third one. I thought it was better than I expected. I had really low expectations though, and I thought it was really, it was charming in so many ways with the dialect they used there. Uh, but it was a lot more entertaining than I thought it would be. Actually, like those movies aren't as bad as many people say they are. I think I wouldn't really technically say that it's better than this movie, for example, but to my enjoyment, it was definitely better. So Lilo and Stitch was a film that I haven't seen before and that I wanted to see when I was a kid, but it certainly had its moments, and I do really enjoy how Disney pick adventures and or like these fantasy worlds from different like folk tales and stuff from all around the world. But just the whole alien thing, I'm not too into that. So it's not better than B, I think, to me. Lost in Translation was interesting, and looking back, I kind of liked the atmosphere of it, but it wasn't really that great, I think. Um, it's kind of hard to explain, but it certainly had its moments. It had this certain atmosphere, as I mentioned, but it wasn't really that entertaining to me, which is too bad. Now, Memento, however, that was, oh man, what a ride! Trying to pay attention, try to connect everything was difficult. I think I did a decent job at it, but it was very entertaining, and I think I got the end and understood how it worked. But man, imagine having that life. You have to take pictures just to remember what happened like 10 minutes ago. It must be hard. Very entertaining, great movie. Christopher Nolan that as well, I think. There will be more of his movies here. So, well, yeah. Memory, Liam Neeson was just this flick I wanted to see. Can't really remember much about it. So, I think I'll put it here. Metal Lords, entertaining film, as like a somewhat metal fan I am myself. Of course, it's fun for any fan to see a film like this, where they play a lot of the classic metal songs from the 80s and stuff. But the plot is fun. The main character, well, not the drummer, but the guitarist, he was such a douche for most of the movie. Even though I think it was kind of funny in some ways, but he was a character that was easy to dislike, to be honest. But it got there in the end. It was funny. My Sister's Keeper is actually a very good family drama. I was dating this girl who wanted me to see this one, so we saw it together, and actually, it was really touching in so many ways. With me having a little sister who's also spent a lot of her childhood in a hospital. She wasn't never on the brink of dying though, but this is it asks some important questions um, about different things. It was really well made. It was touching. Um, it was actually a very good movie, to be honest. No Country for Old Men, right in the top. It was kind of disappointing with the ending, just how it ended, but it was still a really good movie. It was very exciting, intense, not least. So I've seen references to this in some ways as well, but it was kind of different from what I expected, based on what I've heard, but it was really good either way. Nobody is kind of like I had seen John Wick 1 before this one, and I just got the John Wick vibes from it. Very entertaining, on the same level almost as John Wick, I think. Great action. Bob Odenkirk, love the guy, great actor. Um, yeah, very entertaining. So this is Nope, which Jordan Peele movie I'll put up here, I think. So I saw Get Out a while before Nope, and I saw Us even a while before that again. Really enjoyed those two. Nope was also great, so I think I'll just put it here. Interesting take how. Well, no, I'm not supposed to say anything. But it was just to avoid spoilers, of course. But it was very exciting to see how everything unfolded. So here, oh, this is a weird one. This was, I think, the second movie I saw last year. So a Norwegian movie, Olsenmannen, originally a Danish film from several decades ago. Norway has made a lot of these movies as well. So this was kind of a reboot with new actors. I mean, a lot of the old actors are deceased, sadly, but like from the original ones from decades ago. I came into this one with very low expectations. I mean, Jon Carew, a former footballer from Norway, was playing one of the main roles here, and the casting wasn't too bad. The one playing Egon did a great job being Egon, but a lot of it was a decent film, not too bad, but that was mostly because I had low expectations coming in. So I think, yeah, I'll put it down here rather. So Operation Arctic. I kind of coincidentally saw this movie at school because another teacher was showing this because they were reading the book, or at least no, not the draft, but um, they were reading a part of it at least in a textbook. So they saw the movie afterwards about three children who ended up at this kind of station in the Arctic because they snuck onto a helicopter. I can't remember why they did that, but they ended up forgotten there and had to stay at a little cabin and try to survive. And there are polar bears there and everything. It was thrilling, kind of well made, but nothing too special. Nothing like extraordinary. So yeah, I think it's a C actually. Could have been B maybe, but I'll go with C. So then we have Oppenheimer, right in the top. Uh, I thought, also, like, one of the main reasons I wanted to see this movie was because it had the Norwegian actor playing a Ukrainian doctor. His name is Trond Sausa Aurvåg. And he's one of my favorite Norwegian actors. I mean, he played in Lilyhammer, he played Torgeir there. And he's done so many funny parts in Norwegian television through the years. So I was really excited to see him there. The movie was great. It was about as I expected, with like some tension, some drama. The storytelling, like the way they told the story, was interesting. And I think my favorite part was just leading up to the testing of the nuclear bomb. That was done so well, and I just felt the tension. Like it was really exciting to just see the testing. So that was amazing. Definitely one of the better movies, or the best movies I'd seen all year. Orphan was an interesting one. I think this one goes here in the A tier. I won't spoil anything. Just a very unsettling movie in many ways, but a really good one. Then we have Paranormal Activity, which of course has been referenced a lot. It was a huge deal when it first came out. Took me a great while to see it, but I think maybe it's a C movie. Kind of interesting, great way to tell a story. I think, but it's not. I don't find it better than C. I think Parasite, like a very well received Korean movie, South Korean movie, which I really enjoyed. For some reason, I thought this was sort of a horror movie before I saw it. Don't know why. Maybe I heard it. Maybe I just misremembered something. Um, but I saw it just a few weeks ago, and it was really entertaining. Um, yeah, because I went into it expecting more horror, it kind of was. I got misled in some way, not sure why or how, but I got misled. So it wasn't what I expected, but it was still entertaining and thrilling in several ways. Ready Player One was actually disappointing to me. Not sure why. Not sure why just didn't click as much as I'd hoped. I mean, I'm a huge gamer. I love gaming, and a friend of mine told me that like he was surprised when I said that I hadn't seen this movie last year or something, because he said that's like every gamer's dream movie or something like that. But I tried to, lower my expectation, and so I did. But I still didn't find it that great, to be honest. It was still very very entertaining though. Um, it, for some reason, I wasn't entertained too much by it. Now, Red Dragon, however, I had seen The Silence of the Lambs many years ago, but also Hannibal, like the sequel, many years before that again. Red Dragon was great. I thought it was really good, just like the other movies, maybe even better than Hannibal. Uh, and just a big reminder that I should see The Silence of the Lambs again at some point because I really want to. Um, it's been so long, and there's so many things I just don't remember about it. But I would love to see it again. So here we have Saw 2 and Saw 3. I didn't see Saw 1 before last year at some point, but it was over a year ago, so it's not here. And I was honestly surprised at how good Saw really was. My impression from everything I had seen and heard back in the day when it was new was that like it was just gore, just people cutting their foot off and just sawing off limbs to save themselves. Um, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's far from that. It's much more clever than I thought. I really enjoyed the first one. It would have ranked high here if I had seen it in the past year, but I haven't. So I have Saw 2 here and Saw 3. I had even lower expectations for Saw 2 and 3 because I've heard, like, many people said Saw 1 was really good, but the rest was kind of crap. So, Saw 2, I didn't like much. There were so many stupid decisions. I guess it's not James Wan, I think, who directed this, if he was a director. But he had a huge part in the first one, I think. So he's absent from the next two. Saw 2 I didn't think was too good, but Saw 3 was better. I thought I wasn't sure if I even wanted to see more, but I'm kind of glad because Saw 3 is better. It had I thought it was more clever, and the twists at the end was also surprising, I think. So I actually enjoy that a lot more, but maybe I'll put it like this instead. Yeah, I think so. I think that's better. Smokey and the Bandits. Enjoyable film in many ways. I did enjoy how, like, the truckers and it's not far from the same, of course, but I was talking about Dunkirk and the Brotherhood there. It's kind of the same with the truckers and Smokey himself. No, not Smokey, the bandit, of course. Um, it was entertaining. It was funny. I've seen plenty of references to that movie as well. So it was about time I saw it. It was a good time, but nothing too special, I think. Nothing more than that. So Taxi Driver is kind of a weird one for me. This was a Scorsese movie as well, was it? Um, Not sure what I expected. I did enjoy like the film noir vibe of it. Um, I never knew exactly what to expect. I had seen, of course, the Are You Talking to Me scene and references to that, but it was slow building. There were some things that I just didn't really understand the character all the way. But kind of like First Blood. I'll just wait with the film here. Kind of like First Blood. Like I didn't understand much of why things were going like they did until the very end. Like the model, when Rambo was speaking about his trauma and everything, and losing the ones he had gone to war with. Like it made the whole thing make more sense, and the same thing happened. Um, like I didn't understand why I've forgotten his name now. The taxi driver seemed to go for a kill of the man. Was it, what was it again? It wasn't president, was it? Governor, maybe mayor. Uh, the candidates, he was about to shoot him at a rally before he decided to go for the girl, the Jodie Foster character, and save her from being a hooker. And just when we saw the note or letter he had gotten from the parents of the girl, that's when like I felt things made more sense, like what he was about to do, what kind of difference he wanted to make. Just seeing the thank you letter and how much they praised him for doing that, that gave a satisfying end. So I think I'll put it here, B tier. It wasn't the best, still a good experience to see it. I think I'll have to zoom out more. I'm sure there'll be more movies in the A tier, maybe even B tier. So that's my boy, Andy Samberg and Adam Sandler. If you want to see Adam Sandler at his Adam Sandlerist, if that's even the word, I mean, him playing the father here and speaking the way he does, it's just, man, it's almost like stereotypical Adam Sandler. I'm not sure if you agree with me, but like every time people do a parody of him, that's what it often sounds like. So he's kind of parodying. Well, I can't speak right now. Parodying himself in this movie. Uh, it isn't entertaining. It's funny in many ways, but it's it's not his best work, I think. Anyway. So after seeing the Wednesday series, which was really good, by the way, um, it was kind of fun to see an Addams Family movie again. And so I saw the 2019 animation movie, and it was entertaining and funny, but it was decent, I think. The girl I dated wasn't too fond of it, but I think it was decent. So The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's not their best movie, but then again, these people do horror movies better than a lot of people, so it's not too bad. I think it's not the well. I'm comparing this to the other movies here, not the other in the series, but I think it's a B one either way. Hateful Eight, right into the top. I had been struggling with deciding if I wanted to see this or Django Unchained. And I've heard a lot about Django Unchained being a great movie, and I will get to that. But the concept of the Hateful Eight interested me more. Kind of like how I said about Bullet Train. These different people, parties, like with different motives, ending up at the same place, having to maybe fight each other. I think that's the kind of recipe I enjoy a whole lot. So as soon as I read what this movie was about, I really wanted to see it, and I just don't like how long it took me to finally see it, to be honest. So this is The Lost World, Jurassic Park, the sequel. Um, Not as good as the first one, but that's not the point. But it still wasn't that great, I think. Unfortunately, the first one was great. Um, Lost World I wasn't too fond of. So this, oh yeah, this is The Messenger, the first one I saw this year actually. Uh, I had seen Messenger 2, The Scarecrow or something with Norman Reedus a long time ago. It was a sorry. It was one of the first horror movies I saw on Netflix, I think. Wasn't impressed. I think this one was better, but nothing too special. So I think it goes in here. The Pale Blue Eye with Christian Bale and the guy playing Dudley in Harry Potter, which I didn't know at all as I was watching it. I just found out like sometime later, and I was really surprised. I just couldn't recognize him. Actually, a really a good movie. I think it goes up in here. It's actually about some murder mystery, and isn't I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, of course, but the Dudley actor played Edgar Allan Poe in this movie, trying to help out solving this mystery, which I found really intriguing and interesting, and I really enjoyed the movie. The Sixth Sense took me a great while to see, and of course I've seen many references to it. I have been spoiled both in Scrubs, in Jason My Pants, the song. So of course I knew what it was about and what the plot twist was, but I still think it was a very well made film. And actually, I went into the movie because I had seen a scene or something showed in a top 10 at some point, and I just got. Well, if you don't want to hear me spoil something here, should I say it? Just skip this if you don't want to get spoiled. I'm sure it's been spoiled already, but here's a warning: skip past a minute or something. So, even though he was dead and the dead people didn't know that they were dead, I mean that was the point. But at some point, the Bruce Willis character had this look on his face that made me think that he actually knew and he was kind of just tricking the kid. So that just made the ending so much stronger for me, because I thought he knew, but that was my wrong impression from something that maybe even shouldn't be something to convince me that he knew that he was dead. And I do wish I had seen this movie without knowing what the plot twist was, because seeing through it now that I knew, a lot of the signs and hints were very obvious to see. But either way, it was still very enjoyable, and I can see why it was such a big deal when it came out. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Great movie. Um, Nothing much more to say. Super Mario Brothers movie, right on the top. Very enjoyable, very well done, and it's so good to see a video game movie done well. I haven't seen too many. I haven't even seen the original Mario Brothers movie, which, well, I should do at some point. But I've seen Street Fighter. I have seen Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I saw it in the movies, actually, in the theater when it came out many years ago. Um, well, there's hope, I think, for video game movies going ahead. I mean, even Five Nights at Freddy's seems to be kind of good at some point. But yeah, Mario was great. Some of the voices were great. I wasn't too weirded out by Chris Pratt having the voice of Mario. It worked, I think. Jack Black as Bowser was great. He was really good. Anya Taylor-Joy, I didn't think she was too good as Peach. I didn't feel like this was actually Peach talking. But and well, I've seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia now lately, so I hadn't heard about Charlie Day before. But now all I hear in It's Always Sunny is Luigi. So and probably all I'll ever hear when I watch the Mario movie again will be Charlie. So well, great movie. Love to see it again. Love to see more, for that matter. Well animated. It was a huge success, and I'm really glad about it. So we saw the Velocipaster, and a self-aware, terrible movie, but it's really funny in many ways. It actually has, without spoiling anything, I won't do this here either, but it actually has one of the funniest twists that I've seen. Just the way they executed it was hilarious, and I mean that in a good way. Like, it tries to be really stupid, kind of, in many ways. I'm just placing it here right now, um, but actually, I thought the twist I'm talking about was done in such a genius way, and I just laughed my ass off. It was definitely the high point, but self-aware, crappy movie, but still a good time. Actually, put it up here. It wasn't too long either, which is a good thing. Too much of that kind of thing can be, well, not very entertaining. Thor: Love and Thunder, not a huge fan. I mean, sorry to all Marvel fans here. I'm sick and tired of Marvel. I've seen the Thor movies. I saw the first one in the movies when it came out. I've seen Dark World. Not sure if I've seen Ragnarok. But Love and Thunder was annoying. It was weird. It has way too much Guns N' Roses in it. The humor I didn't really get that much. But one thing I did like about it was the villain. The villain was really cool. It had really cool powers. There were some good moments. It wasn't total crap, but um, not a movie that I've like put in high regard, to be honest. But I do think the villain was really cool, so props for that. Troll. This was disappointing. Um, it's definitely not better than it. Maybe it's even down here. Yeah, I think it's one of the worst. I had kind of high hopes for this one, like this Godzilla thing with a huge troll. Um, but some of the characters were stupid. Some of the plot points, like or character developments, just came out of nowhere. Um, it wasn't executed that well, and sadly it goes down there. Here's another Norwegian movie, Utøya, 22. juli, or Utøya, July 22nd, about the terror attacks, um, which of course is a touchy subject. This is actually a really well made movie. Not sure if there ever was a cut, but it made it seem like the whole 90 minutes were filmed in one take. It followed the actions through this one girl. When the terrorists came to the island, and everything happening around, we always followed this one girl, and it's kind of a well-made experience to make it feel like you're there. And I actually think I'll put it up in A tier. It's not totally amazing, but it gives an interesting look into how it could have been, like how you will never experience how in a real way how it actually was, but maybe this will give you some impression. Veronica, I think Veronica, uh, which is in Spanish. Great horror movie, actually. I think I'll put it up here in A. Don't really have that much to say about it, other than it was a good horror movie. I had heard a lot of great things about it before I saw it, and I'm glad I finally got to do it. Often when I pick a movie, sometimes I'll play a game and just have it on the second screen and I'll just pay attention while playing, which works often, but this is one of those movies that I actually have to pay attention to so I can read the subtitles because I don't understand language. But it was a very well-made horror movie, I think. Well deserving of the credit it gets. So Weekend at Bernie's is a film I've heard about a lot, and I actually want to put it here. I've heard that, like, the friend I saw it with said that it kind of sucks, but it was still hilarious. It is hilarious, and I don't think it sucks, to be honest. I thought it was really funny in a real way. Uh, it's kind of weird how it took me so long to see it, but I mean, the plot is ridiculous. It really is ridiculous, but it's still a really funny time to watch that. Winter's Bone, I read that it was like I saw the IMDb rating and thought, man, oh, this could be a good movie. But I thought it was so boring. Not sure why. I did get what it was about, but it was so slow paced, so little that happened. I was just so bored watching it. Maybe I was in a bad state when I saw it, even though I can't remember anything that should, you know. I can't think of anything that would have made me like that, but I just really didn't enjoy it. Not sure why. It was kind of bad. Wrong Turn, thinking kind of the same. Interesting plot, I think. In some ways, it was kind of thrilling to see, but it has so many illogical things happening. Like the the rolling tree logs in the woods. Like, how were they rolling so far with that many trees in those woods standing in the way? They were running downhill from those logs instead of trying to, get out to the side, which is just a poor choice. It's kind of like Tom and Jerry, and I was so frustrated by that. But I just couldn't, I was just watching the film thinking, how are they not stopping or bumping into any trees at all? It was silly. It ruined the experience for me. So, yeah. So from this past year that I've watched movies, these are the new ones anyway, films that I hadn't seen before, and how I would rank them. So in the worst, we have Escape Room, the Champions, something, The Troll, Winter's Bone, and Wrong Turn. Not very good, I think. Then we have Christmas Chronicles 2, Don't Breathe 2, Escape Room, the first one, Krampus, Lost in Translation, Memory, Olsenbanden, Operation Arctis, Saw 2, That's My Boy, Lost World, Jurassic Park, The Messengers, maybe, and Thor: Love and Thunder in C tier, A Cure for Wellness, Big Trouble in Little China, Come Play, Groundhog Day, Hot Rod, Hush, Labyrinth, Langfattet Baller 3, Lilo and Stitch, Metal Lords, Paranormal Activity, Ready Player One, Saw 3, Smokey and the Bandits, Addams Family 2019 animation movie, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, and The Velocipaster in B tier, being around okay. Then at A tier we have Barbie, Clerks 3, Deliverance, Emily the Criminal, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, First Blood, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Halloween, John Wick 4, My Sister's Keeper, Nobody, Nope, Orphan, Parasite, Taxi Driver, The Pale Blue Eye, Utøya 22. juli, Veronica, and The Weekend at Bernie's, at the A tier, all very enjoyable movies. And then at the very top, A Clockwork Orange, American Psycho, Bullet Train, Dunkirk, Gangs of New York, Memento, No Country for Old Men, Oppenheimer, Red Dragon, The Hateful Eight, The Sixth Sense, and the Super Mario Brothers movie. So again, I'll remind you, this is just one guy's opinion, and I'm neither right or wrong about this. And I hope you enjoy this. I actually managed to do this in 1 hour, which isn't too bad for 65 movies or how many they were. I hope you enjoy this. It's fun to do movies as well. I can do plenty of those in the future. Please let me know if you want to see more of this. And of course, give me some constructive criticism if you have any. Sorry about the speech pattern, it sucks sometimes. And I hope to see you very soon again.